Brew, your reaction.
Well, look, obviously I'm happy that Kyrie apologized, and I'm surprised. I woke up this morning pleasantly surprised because last night I spoke to someone close to Kyrie that's known him for years. And they said Kyrie, as we all know, is stubborn. And a lot of times, even if he knows he's wrong or sorry, he will just not give you the pleasure of hearing him say it. And they said it's reminding them of the vaccination situation, where the more people pushed back against him, the more dug in he became, just out of stubbornness. And they thought this was leaning that way or trending that way. So I went to bed last night thinking Kyrie Irving's career might be over. And I woke up and saw that he had apologized. I read it on Instagram. And I was glad that he did it. And hopefully now he'll go through whatever meetings and sessions that he has to go through. He's still going to have a press conference, and actually several press conferences, where he's going to have to handle himself well, because this is going to go on for, once he comes back and talks to the media, it's going to be several days, if not weeks, of dealing with these questions. He's going to have to handle himself well, but I hope he's back playing after the 5-game suspension.
All right, you're way more optimistic than I am.
Wow.
Way more. Well, the way that it went was he posted the anti-Semitic posts, or promoted them. Then he had a chance to clarify them with Nick Friedel and a press conference. That didn't work. Then he had another chance. That didn't work. Then he got suspended, and then all of a sudden, here's my IG post apologizing. Now, it wasn't, I'm going to have a press conference tomorrow, I'm going to take questions, like Draymond did, for example. Right. You're going to hear it from me directly. I'm going to put something up on IG in the middle of the night so that you didn't even see it until you woke up.
Which I think, by the way, real quick, might have been okay if today he had the press conference.
Sure.
If it was like, you know what, I want to get this up at this point as soon as possible. I'll talk to you tomorrow more in full. But that didn't happen.
Yeah, so I think that the Brooklyn Nets need to cut Kyrie.
Really?
Well, here's why. And I went back and I read Sean Marks' introductory press conference. This is when he was in the Prokhorov era, when he was hired. And the whole idea of Sean Marks being hired, remember, it was like Spurs of the Northeast. Perfect organization, Spurs of the Northeast. Here's what he said.
Quite been that.
Here's what he said, 2016. I think you look for players that are going to fit within your culture. You can bring in a star player, but if he doesn't fit with the vision, with where you're going, that can derail a system as well. Has that happened?
No.
It sure seems like it's been derailed. Yeah. So, if you're going to be true to the vision that you had when you were hired for the job, then Kyrie should basically be cut from the team.
You could have said that about Kyrie.
Well, right. There were a lot of times.
If he was going to
and it's not going to stop. If we get through this, there's going to be another one.
So that you've kind of led me to both of my points here. Mm-hmm. We all agree Kyrie's going to have a press conference at some point. Yeah. And Sean Marks there also said he's going to have counseling. In my experience, folks that are, hesitant to apologize when it's the easiest thing to do are also quite hesitant to being forced into counseling that they don't think they need. So we'll see if that happens. But in that IG post, we couldn't show you the entire thing. One of the things he wrote was, there were things in that documentary I agreed with and disagreed with, and I made a mistake by not explaining that at my previous press conference. Well, Nick Friedel or whomever is going to ask him. And the question for the Brooklyn Nets is, do you trust Kyrie Irving while representing you to answer those questions? Is Kyrie Irving right now ready to answer those questions? Talking about what in that documentary he agreed with and what he disagreed with. And the other conversation the Nets must have, which is why I do think it is absolutely on the board. He's played his final game at the very least with the Nets. Potentially in the NBA, but certainly with the Nets, I think it's on the board.
Certainly.
I think it's certainly on the board.
Right.
Kyrie has had each season that he's played since Durant's been healthy, the last 3 years, 3 different reasons that he has missed time that are so unique to Kyrie. And they are so haphazard. There is no common thread. So 2 years ago, Kyrie goes on an unannounced leave of absence. And we find out it's because he was so traumatized by what happened at the United States Capitol on January 6th. Okay, so it's like deep political anger, you miss time.
Right.
The next year, it was, I'm going to be a voice for the voiceless, despite not really explaining it because I am opposed to vaccine mandates. Okay. So that's unique, but it's also not really connected to the first thing. And now this year, it's like, I'm going to dabble unintentionally or otherwise in anti-Semitic musings or promotion. How on earth can you predict what's next? How can you say, we trust you now to not, the next thing that...
So should they just cut him now?
I don't know how you can run a serious franchise right now with Kyrie Irving being a part of it.
Here's the thing. They can't. So Nick Friedel talked to Sean Marks at the end of that and said, hey, do you have any update on the coach? And he's like, no, we haven't gotten around to that. And Woj reported earlier, that's been stalled.
Oh, yeah.
They literally, Brew, can't run the franchise because they're dealing with Kyrie Irving. So Jacques Vaughn is just the coach because they haven't gotten around to it. The franchises can't function.
Well, here's the thing with Kyrie, and obviously he's going to have another press conference. He's got time to prepare, and they've got time to prepare him. He's not going to have that. He's not playing for at least 5 games, right? That press conference, I don't think is going to happen until he's close to being.
Bro, when you said they have time to prepare him, it was reported today. It was reported.
Right,
Sean Marks said it. Was that he was like, yeah, we've talked to them a little bit. That clearly not as much they would want to. Clearly, he had time between the post-game press conference where he was very standoffish the first time he talked about this, and when he met in the scrum a few days later with Nick Friedel there.
It's not going to be here's the thing. Kyrie Irving has shown twice that when you threaten his bag, his money, or you threaten his career, he'll straighten up. Right? Remember, you didn't think that he was going to accept just coming back and playing on the last year of his deal. He didn't want to do that.
But that wasn't straightening up. You think he is straightened up?
Not straightened up, but accepting it. All right.
Okay,
when nobody thought he would. It's untenable. It's unimaginable that Kyrie will accept playing out this last year of his deal.
But that's because he had no other option.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Does he have any other options now?
No, but the Nets do. The Nets can just get rid of him.
But he doesn't. All right. And yes, last night, why did he issue that apology? I agree with you. I think he's sincere in that he's not anti-Semitic. I never thought he was anti-Semitic.
I agree.
But I don't think the apology is sincere because we know it only came, he didn't want to apologize. Let's put it that way. So that's not sincere. Okay, but he did it because he knew my career is in jeopardy. And this is an unpaid suspension, right? Without pay. My money is in jeopardy. That tells me that it's within him to do the right thing. If his money or his career is in jeopardy.
I understand what you're saying.
Now, you're right. He might not.
I guess my point is that, and I think Wilds agrees with me here, even if he handles the next step of this perfectly, hires a crisis management firm quietly, talks about it, sincerely does meet with the communities that he needs to meet with, actually learns, comes out of this on the other side, and we all universally say, wow, he did learn. We all learned. You know what? We're going to find a silver lining into it. If you're the Nets, you have to be counting down the days to the next thing. That's why I don't think it's tenable, is because I do this.
If you're any team.
Yes. Which is why, like you said yesterday, it was on the board. His career could be over after this year. If the Nets cut him, if the Nets cut him, and I think it's all on the board, and I think trusting Kyrie to all of a sudden, you know what I mean, that this is going to be the moment. And now, go ahead, Wild.
So we have some sound from Kevin Durant followed up by a tweet from Kevin Durant. Take a listen.
I ain't here to judge nobody or talk down on nobody for how they feel, their views, or anything. I just didn't like anything that went on. I feel like it was all unnecessary. I felt like we could have just kept playing basketball and kept quiet as an organization. I just don't like none of it.
So almost immediately after that, Kevin Durant took to Twitter to say, I just want to clarify the statements I made at shoot-around. I see some people are confused. I don't condone hate speech or anti-Semitism. I'm about spreading love always. Our game unites people, and I want to make sure that it's at the forefront. Nick?
Yeah, I mean, this is why it's so exhausting to be in business with Kyrie. Kevin, listen, KD just wants to hoop. And KD, though, now is being asked tricky questions where it's like there is, the moral righteous thing. There's what my organization, my employer is doing. There's what my good friend did. And he's trying to walk the tightrope. And I think the reason he sent that tweet is the comment that people seized on, I think rightfully, is him saying, I wish the organization didn't do anything. I wish we could have just kept to basketball. Because a lot of people read that as minimizing the impact and the hurt of what Kyrie did. But Kevin Durant, where I will cut him a break here, what is Kevin Durant trying to do? Play basketball and be left alone, it seems. Now all of a sudden, he has to answer for what Kyrie said, how the organization handled it. It is just, it's draining. So I'm not going to kill KD. KD has a long track record of while he'll bite back at you on Twitter, his heart is in the right place on nearly everything I've seen. And he's got a long track record also of not having super controversial opinions on life. And so I think he just had a misstatement, but I also think why it's so exhausting for his teammates and his team to be in the Kyrie Irving business.
Look, but KD signed up for this. And we're not going to go talk about how he made a huge mistake leaving Steph Curry and the Warriors to team up with his good friend Kyrie. When I was listening to that statement from KD on my way into the studio, I was thinking, I know he had to include Kyrie within that term, the organization. Like, please, KD, you were including yourself, all the players, and Kyrie within the organization. That you weren't just talking about Sean Marks and Joe Tsai and guys like that. So, and obviously, people didn't take it that way. I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. He came out and clarified it. I agree with you. I don't think KD meant any missteps. But look, we've seen for 4 years that Kyrie Irving is the stronger personality. And KD follows, whether follows him or is not going to speak out against him. He's had many opportunities to do so. It's your friend, so I get it. But you still can come out and say, yeah, I wish he'd get vaccinated so we can go ahead and try to chase this championship. Or I wish he wouldn't have said this or that. So I didn't expect Kevin Durant to come out and say anything strong about Kyrie. But I think he misspoke and obviously clarified it and wants to move on.
Okay. We'll be back with Eagles Texans after the break. First things first.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.